shirt is driving me nuts. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video in my full month of nothing new. Have my declutter clothes on again. That's right, we are doing another declutter today. I did both of these, or filmed both of these on the same day. If you didn't have a chance to see my blush declutter, I'll link it for you guys right here. But today we are tackling bronzers and highlights. I, again, decluttered bronzers quite recently, but have accumulated quite a few more. And not only that, my bronzer section, it's kind of compact. I don't have a lot of space in there, so I need to keep it concise. So even trying out just 2 or 3 more can tend to throw things off and make my drawer not closed anymore. So we're going to go through and declutter a couple of them today. I don't have any great promises. Thinking off the top of my head, we'll probably just get rid of a handful. So there's not going to be any huge numbers with bronzers, but I do have quite a few highlights that I think it is time to let go of. So we're going to tackle them both together. Hopefully you guys are excited about it. You guys know how much I love a good declutter, good chance to go through my collection, get rid of things that are just not getting use or that I no longer like, because that does sometimes happen too as my preferences change. We're going to get into it, but before we do, I want to give a special welcome to any new visitors to my channel. So happy to have you here, and I hope that you'll consider subscribing before you leave. Also, make sure a notification bell is turned on if you'd like to be notified every time I upload a new video. And with all of that said, let's grab my stuff. We're going to head up to my kitchen and get into it. All right, you guys, here is my bin. This is all my highlighters over here, bronzers over here. This looks like chaos. Let's see if we can make a dent in these. So I think today we're going to start off with this area right here. We will start with highlighters. Let me get those out and we will get started. Here it is. Here we have all of my highlighters. Let's start with this one here. Obviously this is going to be a keeper. I consider this a highlighter. I use this as a liquid highlighter, the Hollywood Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury. I didn't feature this in my ranking highlighters video because it's kind of a multi-purpose product. I don't think most people use this as a liquid highlighter. I mean, some people do, but it's more like just a complexion enhancing product. Can also be used as a primer, but if I was to redo that video, including this, it would definitely make it into that ranking. I'm not going to say which one I would bump, but it is one of my favorite products in my collection, despite the fact that it's super, super pricey. I do love it. Let's go to this one next. Flower Beauty. This is the highlight palette from them, their strobing highlight palette. I love this one. I mentioned it in a highlight ranking video. It made it into my top 10. It's beautiful. It's really, really intense. I'm not a huge fan of the packaging with the brush section right there, but the highlighter itself is really stunning. This one right here, this is from Makeup Revolution. This one just missed making it into my top 10. This would probably be in my top 15. This one's really pretty. It's the shade, is it Just My Type? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Just My Type. This is the Revolution Beauty Makeup Revolution X. What are they called now? I can't ever keep it straight, but this is a really pretty champagne highlighter that just works really perfect for my skin tone. Very pretty, kind of peachy champagne. Nice and subtle, not too intense, but it's not too subtle. Definitely shows up on my skin. Really nice formula. Packaging, you guys, I have so many highlighters, as you will see, tend to do this. And it does drive me nuts. This is one that I kind of want to tape up so it at least sort of stays on, but I do really like the highlighter still. It's affordable. Good one from the drugstore. Okay, I've got these 2 stick highlighters right here. Both of them I purchased from Yes Style. One is from the brand I Meme. One is from the brand The Same. They look the same. Let's give them a quick swatch, so I'll show you guys the difference. I'm going to keep one of these and pass one along. They are similar to each other, but I think I know which one I like a little better. So this is the one that I first tried out. It's from the brand I'm Meme. Now both of these have a really strange kind of baby powder scent, especially this one. This one's pretty strong. It's a little bit deeper. It's almost a little bit too deep for me. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's kind of, see how it's showing up, like the pigment's darker than the underside of my skin. This one from The Same is a little bit more icy and a little bit more sheer. So I am going to be keeping this one from The Same. Hopefully you guys can kind of see the difference. See, that one's darker than this one. This one's better for my skin tone. If you have more medium skin, I think this I Meme one might work a little bit better for you. And just so you know, this is in the shade 001 Champagne Gold, the I Meme one, and then The Same one is in the shade, it doesn't say. But basically, they had only one option when it came to their cream stick blushes, and this was the only option that was actually a highlighter. So gonna keep this one, gonna pass the eye meme along. Let's go through my loose highlighters. This is gonna be tricky. I feel like I should get rid of one, but there's unique things that I love. Wait, where am I? There we go. About each of these. This one's from Artist Couture. This one's really beautiful. I don't think they sell this shade anymore. I got it in a boxy charm. It is quite gold and shimmery. It is glittery, but in the most subtle and beautiful way. Oh, is that gonna pick up? So shimmery and so beautiful. I'm gonna keep that one. Let's see about these two right here. Oh, I like them both for different reasons though. So this is the Coty Airspun in the shade Snow Much Ice. Let's give it a little shake so I can swatch it for you guys. This one's really, really kind of pink icy, but it works so good for fair skin. I've done makeup on a couple of friends that have really fair skin. This is one of the few highlighters that I have that really work for them, especially for like a really glamorous like prom type of look. That's such a good highlighter. And then this one right here is also really glamorous and pretty. It's similar, but it's a little bit more glittery. They're quite similar to each other. Oh man. I'm gonna keep them both. Sorry, I was hoping to get rid of one of these, but after swatching them, I just can't bring myself to do it because even though I don't use these type of highlighters super often, they are really special. Oh boy, guys, I am not off to a very good start. Okay, let's find one that I can declutter. Here's an easy one. This is from e.l.f. This is like their dollar packaging. I don't even know if they sell this anymore. It's one of the first highlighters I ever tried. And I didn't love it back then. I don't love it that much either. It doesn't even shine that much. It looks a little chalky on my skin. That's an easy one. I can get rid of that. I think I can also get rid of this one. This is from Wet n Wild. This is the Hello Halo. I like this. It's just a little greasy for my skin. I don't know. And I have other liquids that I like a little bit better. This one's just a little bit too like greasy and also icy, and I don't find it to like sit down very well. So it is pretty and shiny. I don't love it for my skin, so I'm gonna pass that along. By the way, that's in the shade Halo Goodbye 304A. A liquid highlighter I am going to keep is this one right here from Daniel Sandler. I do like this one. It's in the shade Moon Glow. It is also a little greasy, but it's more watery than greasy. I'm gonna keep that one. I'm also gonna keep this one from NARS. This is Copacabana. I got this from a subscriber friend. She sent this to me and it is really, really pretty. I need to use this one more than I do. Like that is pretty. Now that one, wow. Okay, this one I can get rid of. This is actually kind of embarrassing. I almost threw this away before I came up here thinking you don't want to show people that. Charlie got a hold of this one forever ago. This is from e.l.f. It's their baked highlighter. These are actually really pretty. I don't even know if they make these anymore. I'm pretty sure they don't, but they are really pretty once you get off that first layer. It took me a while to figure that out. This one is in the shade Blush Gems. It's probably the prettiest of the colors that I have, but it's clearly disgusting. I mean, look, Charlie, I think she just like got a brush or something and went to town on this thing and made a mess of it, and I don't use it very often and it's broken. So that one I'm probably gonna throw in the trash. And as for these other two from e.l.f., I think I'm gonna get rid of both of these. This is a baked highlighter and blush in the shade Rose Gold. This one still kind of has the film on top, so it's not quite as creamy as some of the others. It's pretty. I think somebody could get some use out of it, but it's not my favorite and I don't ever use it. And then this one is the shade Moonlight Pearls. This is a pretty champagne, but I just don't use it enough. And I still feel like these take a while to work through that crust on the top before they get a little bit more creamy. And this one's just, I don't know, that's just not as intense as I like my highlighters to be. So that one is a no. This one is new to me. This is the KKW Beauty highlighter in the shade Victory. Oh, look, let's just take a moment. Isn't that the cutest packaging? I love it so much. And I love the highlighter. I think it's really pretty. I'm especially gonna love this fall or winter time. I think she has a really nice formula. It's really creamy, but it's also not too like icy or intense. It's really nice. It's a good middle of the road kind of highlighter formula, really pretty. And this one right here, this is from Maybelline. This is the Master Chrome highlighter in the shade Molten Rose Gold. This is another really pretty drugstore highlighter. It's quite pink in tone, but the formula is just so nice. I have a feeling this is gonna be a little too dark on me in the middle of winter. I should probably start using it now while I have a bit of a tan, but for now I'm gonna keep it. It is a good drugstore one. This is another one that just about made it into my top 10 ranking, but not quite. Let's go through my Wet n Wild highlighters. I'm pretty sure I can get rid of at least one of these. So I'm definitely keeping Precious Petals. This is my favorite of the bunch. I think the formula of this one is better than the other shades that I own, and it's pretty color. It's a golden peach, so pretty. If you have light to medium or even deep skin, I think this will work on you. Probably not if you have super fair skin, because it is quite pigmented. It's not the lightest highlighter shade that I own, but it's such a pretty formula. I love it. This one right here is a little bit better for more fair skin, but it has a little bit of a strong iridescent pink shift to it. So if you don't like iridescent highlighters, you might not like this one. I think it's pretty. I'm not sure though. Let's try this one. This is Golden Flower Crown. This one is a little subtle on me. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I have some other gold highlighters in my collection that I much prefer over this one. So this one I am going to pass along. I think I'll keep this one for now, Blossom Glow. This right here, the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. Such a good drugstore highlighter. Horrible packaging, but really great highlighter from the drugstore. One that I often recommend, especially for those that are just getting into makeup or just getting into highlighter. It's a good entry-level highlighter because it gives you really nice, natural shine without being too glittery or over the top. And I think it's sheer enough that I would think it would work for a lot of skin tones, although I have heard from some of you that it didn't work for your skin tone. So maybe if you have more either really fair skin or more medium to deep skin, maybe it wouldn't work for you, but it works great for me. And I especially love the formula of this. It's really special. Okay, let's go with these three from ColourPop. I have Smoke and Whistles right here, which is more of a pink tone. I have Lunch Money, kind of a champagne, and then Flexitarian. Let me show you, see if I can get these to show up for you guys. This is gonna be tough. Ooh, I'm definitely keeping Flexitarian. This one, did this make it into my ranking? I think it did, but it was lower down on the rankings. But man, you guys, that's so pretty. It doesn't last as well as some of my other more icy, very intense highlighters, but I'm telling you, there's something special about this highlighter. It is beautiful, so I'm definitely keeping that one. Let's look at these two. I might try and get rid of one of these. This is Lunch Money, which is more of a gold. It's definitely more natural, not quite as shiny as Flexitarian, not quite as intense. And then Smoke and Whistles has more, it's more of a pink champagne, but it's not too pink. It's not like cool tone pink. Yeah, so I'm gonna get rid of Lunch Money and keep Smoke and Whistles and Flexitarian. Here's one we can pass along. This is from Hard Candy. This is their Glow All the Way Tiki Highlighter. I wish they still made this because I actually think this is really, really pretty. And it actually reminds me a little bit of the Pure Nude Highlighter by Essence. It's a little bit more subtle, but it's a really pretty color. It's nice and sheer. It's somewhat natural looking. It's beautiful, but it's old. I've had it for years and years. I think it's time to pass that one along. This one right here, the Persona Zuma Highlighter. This was my #1 ranked highlighter, so I'm obviously not getting rid of it. So incredibly beautiful. Oh, I love this. Every time I use this, you glow to the heavens when you use this thing in the most pretty golden but subtle way. Love it. And very closely to that one is the Revlon Skin Lights highlighter. In fact, if you have more fair skin, I would even more recommend this one. I know I ranked this pretty high in that video, but I've been using this even more lately. And the more I work into it and kind of get through that ridge there, that kind of initial crusty layer, that sounds terrible. It's not crusty, it just is a little bit more dry on top. It seems to get even more creamy and more pigmented, and I think I like it even more now than I did when I first got it. Look at that shine, you guys. It is insane. Oh my goodness. Such a pretty shade. It's the perfect champagne with the right amount of gold in it. Oh, I love it. I think this is probably the best highlighter at the drugstore if you like something intense. Let's take this one next. This is from Revolution, Makeup Revolution. Vivid Baked Highlighter in Radiant Lights. This one's pretty. It's pretty subtle. It's also pretty light. Yeah, it's definitely pretty subtle. If you like a really subtle highlighter, I mean, could you even see that? There we go. That's a little bit better. It's good. It's not my favorite though. And I don't like the packaging of this one because it's really rounded. So it's really hard to store this one in my drawer. And I just don't use it very often. And I have way too many. So I'm going to pass that one along as well. As for this one right here from MAC, I love this. This is the Double Gleam highlighter from MAC. So pretty. This actually reminds me a lot of that Revlon one as far as the shade. Really beautiful, basic champagne with a touch of gold. I don't even know that I'd call it gold. It's more of just like a soft, warm champagne. It's beautiful. And then this right here, I am definitely keeping. This is from the Ophir and Samantha March collection, the Star Inspired. Look how pretty this is. Mine doesn't look as pretty as the Ophir highlighters look when you first get them, but this is so pretty. Very, very intense, but stunning. Let's go to these Becca highlighters really quickly. These are some mini ones that I got for the holidays like 3 years ago. I have Opal, I have Rose Quartz, which is a pink, and then Prismatic Amethyst, which is kind of a iridescent pink. I think I'm gonna get rid of Prismatic Amethyst. Let's just give them all a swatch really quickly. So here's Prismatic Amethyst. It has a strong pink shift to it. I don't know that it's picking up in this lighting, but I'm not really into iridescent highlighters, and I think someone else will really enjoy that one. I do like Rose Quartz. It's more of a pinky gold. This is the type of pink that I can wear at times, but my favorite of the bunch is definitely Opal. There's a reason a lot of people rave about this one. It is really, really beautiful. It is quite mid-toned, so if you have really fair skin, this might be a little bit too dark for you, but it tends to work pretty well for me, and I like the formula a lot. This one right here from e.l.f. This is the Shimmer Highlighting Powder. I don't even know if this is available anymore. Let's give it a swatch. I don't really like this one. It's kind of like hard panned, and it's not even that intense. Yeah, that one's not very good. I'm gonna get rid of that one. This one is the NYX Born to Glow Icy Highlighter. I don't know about that. I don't know why I call this an icy highlighter. You get the two versions. This one has quite a bit of glitter in it. It's actually pretty nice. I've been using it more since I first featured this in a video and talked about how I was annoyed that it was so expensive. But I do really like this side. And this is pretty. I just don't use glittery highlighters very often. It's kind of a peach champagne color. I do think it's pretty. It was kind of pricey though. Like, I wouldn't say run out and buy this, but because I have it, I'll use it, so I'm gonna keep it for now. Sometimes I'm just really hard on NYX because their price point is just so all over the place. Like, they have the cheapest lip glosses at the drugstore, but then some of their other stuff is so crazy expensive. I just baffles me. I don't know. This is the Smashbox Highlighter Trio. This one I think I put on the chopping block the last time I did a declutter. I've actually been using it more, and I really like it, actually. So I'm gonna keep this one. Still not a big fan of this last shade. It has a little bit of glitter in it, but the other two shades I really like. So I'm gonna keep the Smashbox Spotlight Pearl Highlighting Palette. All right, let's go through these three. I'm keeping this one from Physicians Formula. If you guys have been watching YouTube videos for like 7 years, you'll definitely recognize this. Maybe a lot of you own it. I still think this is such a great highlighter. It looks disgusting, but especially this section here for highlighting is so pretty. This one from Pretty Vulgar. This is actually a dupe for Precious Petals by Wet n Wild, or I guess I should say Precious Petals is a dupe for this one because this one's much more pricey, or at least it was. I don't even know, is Pretty Vulgar even around anymore, but these are they're very similar to each other. Kind of a golden pink tone. It's really pretty. I don't know, you guys. I kind of want to keep it because the packaging is cute, but it's been discontinued and I probably don't need it. I'm gonna hold on to that one for just a sec. Let's look at these two. So this one I actually got as a gift from Juvia's Place in one of my more recent orders. They sent this one along. The packaging is quite obnoxious for how tiny of a highlighter this is, but I let Juvia's Place get away with it because I just think their packaging, their whole vibe is just, I love it so much. And this is a really pretty highlighter. It's a little deep for my skin tone, but I love the formula of it. This one is in the shade Heroin Glow 1, so I think this is probably the lightest one that they offer. I mean, I know Juvia's Place is kind of made for more deeper skin toned, or with those with deep skin tones in mind, so that doesn't surprise me too much, but it is a little dark for me, but I do like the formula a lot. I don't know, you guys. This one's kind of, I'm gonna keep it just because it's Juvia's Place, but my guess is this will probably be on the chopping block next time, just because the shade is not gonna quite work for me, at least not in the wintertime. This one right here from Stila, this is the Heaven's Hue highlighter in the shade Brilliance. I really like this highlighter. It's really beautiful and subtle. This actually reminds me of that Juvia's Place one, but not quite as deep. It's a nice golden kind of peach that's really, it's a really interesting formula. It's kind of creamy, but it's also kind of dry and sheer at the same time. It's not super intense, but when I want something more subtle, I do like this one, and it works especially for those that have texture on their skin because it just sits on the skin really nicely and it's not overly intense. So I'm going to keep this one, and I love this Stila packaging. It's really nice and sleek. So back to this one. What did I decide? I'm going to do it. I'm going to pass it along. Oh. All right, you guys, so here are all the keepers. There are 27. Here are the rejects. There are, I already lost track. Dang it. 13 rejects, 27 keeps. I actually did better than I thought. I did not think I was going to get rid of more than a handful of these because I'm pretty attached to a lot of my highlighters. I love highlighter. It's one of my favorite things to try out, but I'm happy to pass these along. I think it's going to clear up some space, and I'm certain someone can get some better use out of these. So let me push these off to the side and we will dig into my bronzers. Right, so let's just dig right in. Starting with my Flower Beauty Heat Wave bronzer. Oh no, I just noticed this one's kind of cracked a little bit. Oh, this is one of my very favorites. That makes me so sad. This is the Flower Beauty Heat Wave bronzer in the shade Sunrise L1. I love this bronzer. One of my very favorite drugstore bronzers. It has this really pretty subtle kind of almost like a rosy blush tone to it that looks so pretty on the cheeks, but it's also almost cool toned without being ashy. It's just lovely. I love it so much. I'm gonna keep that one. As for the other, there it is. This one, I think I'm gonna pass. Oh gosh, you guys, I don't know. I do love the formula of these. They remind me a lot of the Hourglass formula. I don't know. I do kind of like this one too. It's just a little too warm for me. That's a maybe. Let's hold on to that one for just a minute and then we'll see. Okay, take these two right here. Sun Club Matte Bronzing Powders. I have also the Sun Club Luminous Bronzing Powder. So this one actually does remind me a lot of the Flower Beauty one. Oh my goodness, those are like dupes for each other. Wow. Oh, this one's more affordable. Which one? I feel like I should just keep one of those. Okay, I'm gonna hold off on these two for a sec. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of the Luminous Bronzing Powder. It's just a little bit darker than the Flower Beauty one, so I'm gonna keep the Flower and pass along the Luminous Bronzing Powder from Essence. I like it. It's just a little bit too warm for me, but I love the Sun Club Matte Bronzing Powder, even though the lid is broken. It's really, really nice. It's not quite as warm. It's a little bit more subtle, as you can see, but I love how this one looks on my cheeks, so I'm gonna keep that one. Great affordable bronzer from the drugstore, despite its crappy packaging. But what doesn't have crappy packaging, my Hourglass bronzer. Definitely keeping this one. This one's in the shade Luminous Bronze Light. This one's pretty nice and warm as well. Kind of want to swatch it next to that. Actually, that's like identical to the matte bronzing powder from Essence. Look at those two. They look very similar to each other. This one's supposed to be a matte. This one does have a little bit more sheen in it. But surprisingly, the matte bronzing powder from Essence has a very subtle, almost satin-like finish, and those are actually pretty close dupes. I have my Too Faced bronzers. I have been meaning to pick up the new versions of these because I know this packaging is really old. I've had these both for probably going on 4 years now. I still love them both. I don't know. I hate to buy new ones just because the packaging looks old when I have so much of these still left, and I like them both. They both smell nice and feel nice still. I have the light version and the medium deep version, and I like them both. I have other shades that I've been liking for contouring, so I'm going to pass along the medium to deep version. I'm going to keep the light, and I might maybe in the near future, or near-ish future, try and pick up the medium version in the new packaging. Let's move on to this one. This is from Wet n Wild. This is the Sunset Striptease Color Icon Bronzer. I love this. I think this is such a good drugstore bronzer. I know the packaging looks a mess. I've hit pan here. This is actually, looks like I hit pan, but that was actually Charlie went in with the back of a brush and jabbed it, and that's what happened there. But I do really love this bronzer. It's warm, but it's not overly warm on me. It looks a lot warmer and deeper in the pan than it actually is. Hopefully, as you can tell, it's not quite as intense as it looks inside the pan, and I love the finish of it. Whoops. So this is obviously a highlighter. This should have been in my highlighter video. I'm definitely keeping this one. It's a really nice one. It did, oh my gosh, I'm having trouble with the packaging of this though. Did you guys see that? It's not staying put. That makes me mad. But I do love the formula of this. If it will survive, I'm gonna keep this one until it completely shatters, and then I will be very angry. But for now, I'm gonna keep it. Add 1 to that number, whatever it was. Okay, I have got my Wet n Wild contour sticks here. I have the shade Oaks on You and Where's Walnut. Here is Oaks on You. It's the lighter one. And then the shade Where's Walnut. This one's a little bit deeper, a little bit less warm. I mean, they're both warm, but this one's just not quite as warm. I actually think Oaks on You can turn a little orange on me, but I wanted to show you guys how that compares to the Milk bronzer stick in Baked. You guys know this thing's not going anywhere. I love this so much. So there's the Milk bronzer stick. I actually think the undertone of this one is more similar to the Milk, whereas this one's just, you can see it's just a little bit too warm. I don't know how well that's picking up. So I'm actually gonna pass on Oaks on You and keep the Where's Walnut, because I do love having this as an alternative to the Milk bronzer stick. I wouldn't call them dupes, but they're pretty close to each other. However, one that I would say is pretty much a dupe is this one right here. This is from I'm Meme. I did declutter the highlight stick that came with this one, but look how close those two are, you guys. They are almost identical. I still think this one's a hair more warm than the Milk, but it's not quite as orange. Like, it doesn't have the yellow orangey undertone that this one has. More of like a, I don't want to say it's rosy, because it's not rosy, but it's just more of a neutral undertone, very similar to the Milk one. So if you're looking for a dupe for the Milk bronzer stick that's slightly more affordable, so I'm going to keep both of those for now. One that I am going to get rid of that I bought in effort to try and find a dupe for the Milk bronzer stick is, this is actually just a foundation stick from Sephora. I thought maybe a dark foundation shade would work as a bronzer. No, it's way too pigmented. It's harder to blend. It kind of sticks. It's just not quite as creamy. It did not work. So I'm definitely gonna pass that along. Let's go with this one right here. This is from Daniel Sandler. This is the liquid bronzer in the shade Sun Glow. It's so pretty. It looks really wet and liquidy, but this gives your cheeks the prettiest shine. Once you kind of blend this out, the color shears out a little bit, and it gives you just the subtlest amount of color and a lot of shine. So this is a good, if you like one product that's going to work as your bronzer and your highlight at the same time, this is perfect for that. Great summer product. I've really been enjoying this one this summer. I'm very happy because it took me a while to kind of get the hang of those or learn to like those Daniel Sandler watercolors. Let's go with this one right here. This is the Bare Minerals tiny little bronzer in the shade Warmth. This came in a little kit that I think I got from Sephora, either with bonus points or a Christmas gift. Honestly, I don't even remember, but I've hardly used this. It's even a little bit dark on me, so I'm gonna pass that along. This one, which I believe has been discontinued, is their Invisible Bronze in the shade Fair to Light. This is such a pretty bronzer. Too strong of a swipe. It barely shows up on my wrist right there, but on my cheeks, it gives you, if you have really fair skin, this is stunning for fair skin. So I'm gonna keep this one. I do especially love using this in the wintertime. Okay, this right here is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Contouring Palette. This is a really good bronzer specifically. I don't really use the powder in here. You guys know I'm not a big powder user, period. I really like this one. I think it's a good one. I'm gonna keep it for now. It's probably one that could be on the chopping block, but I know a lot of people have this. So I'm gonna keep it for just future drugstore videos, but it's not one I've been using a lot. And now that I have the other Wet n Wild bronzer, I actually think I like that one even a little bit better than I like this one. This right here, this is from ColourPop. This is the shade, the name just escaped me, but it's the one that Kathleen Lights raved about, Private Party. I think that's what it's called, Private Party. I can't decide. This is one I probably could let go of. Let me just hang on for a sec. This is gonna be a maybe. For now, I'm gonna put it off to the side, and then we'll see how we do with some of these other ones. This one right here I know I can get rid of. It's the Revlon Skin Lights bronzer in the shade Sun-Kissed Beam. I liked the formula of this. You guys know I love the highlighter in this version. This one's just a little too warm for me. I've used it a few times since, and it just pulls quite orange on me. It's one of the warmest bronzers I have in my entire collection. One I'm definitely keeping is the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer in the shade 01. This is a really nice drugstore bronzer, has really nice packaging. It's nice and subtle. A good bronze that's not too warm or too cool. Also gonna keep the e.l.f. Forever Sun Kissed Bronzer, another favorite of mine from the drugstore. little bit warmer than the Milani one, just very slightly, but still very subtle. I want to keep these two right here. These are great bronzer options if you happen to be ordering from Yes Style. They're tiny, but I kind of like that about them. They're the Cotton Contour bronzers. This one is the shade, oh gosh, I forget the shades of these. Smoked Hazel, I think. They don't write them on the back, they just write the numbers. This is a good contour for me. It's super, super subtle. If you have very, very fair skin, this would be a good contour shade for you. And then this one right here is also very light in tone, Baked Bagel. These are probably hardly gonna show up on the back of my hand. You can see how subtle those two are, but that's what I love so much about them. I actually like that they're kind of small and compact in case I need to travel light somewhere, and I do think the formulas of them are really nice. They're matte, but they're really creamy, kind of smooth matte. Definite keeper is gonna be the Hourglass Diffused Bronze Light. This one's quite a bit deeper than my other Hourglass shade. I have to use it with a little bit more of a light hand, but look how pretty that sheen is. Oh, so pretty. And then I'm also gonna keep the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Omega, what's it called? I think it's the Omega Bronze in the shade Tantastic. This is a classic. I've often said how painful this was of a purchase and how I'm often hesitant to use it, but I'm getting less hesitant to use it, and the more I've used it, the more I realize it's a good bronzer. I don't know that I'd say run out and spend, what, $50, $60 on it, unless you're really into nice packaging, but I do think the bronzer's really nice. Two more high-end bronzers that I'm gonna keep are the NARS bronzers. I have the shade Laguna, like their old Laguna. I think they've changed their packaging, but this is just the like OG Laguna bronzer. I more recently got my hands on this one. It's really nice. It's quite warm, but not too warm on me. It works for me, but I actually like this one a little better. This is the Laguna bronzer, but it's like their Sun Wash, is it Sun Wash Diffused, I think, bronzer in the shade Laguna. It's more of a matte, and it's a little bit more subtle on my skin. It's not quite as pigmented as this one, as the original Laguna. I actually like it a little bit better on me, but I like them both, and I love the NARS packaging, even though now it's changed and been discontinued. I kind of hate that NARS has done that, which, I mean, it's my own fault. I waited like 7 years to try out NARS Laguna, so shame on me, I guess. This right here is the e.l.f. bronzer palette. This is one I can pass along. I think it's really good. If you're looking for a bronzer palette that gives you a couple different options from the drugstore that's affordable, this is really, really nice. I like the formulas inside here. I just don't use it that much anymore. And it's quite old, so we're gonna pass that one along. The number 7 bronzer. I love this bronzer. It's really pretty. It's a very subtle warm bronzer. You can probably barely see that on my, let's see. Yeah, you can like barely see it. But if you have really fair skin, you like something warm, I think you'll really like that one. My Thrive Cosmetics, I'm definitely keeping. This is one of my very favorite bronzers. It is so, so good. I've heard a lot of people rave about this one, and for good reason. I'm glad I finally got it because I love the formula of this one. Super, it's a very creamy matte formula. I just discovered that another highlighter snuck in here. I probably should not have binned those together. This is the Milk Makeup Highlighter, Flex Highlighter in the shade Lit. This is a great highlighter. I can't remember, did this make it into my top 10? If it didn't, it's awfully close to my top 10. Like it would be my top 12 or 13. I love it. It's super, super pretty. It has a little bit more like an ashy tone. If you have really fair skin, this might be a little bit too pigmented for you, but I love it on my skin. It's really pretty. So that's gonna go over with my highlighter keeps for now. This is where it's gonna get tricky. Definitely not getting rid of my Patrick Ta, one of my favorite bronzers. It is so stunning. I love it so much, especially the cream inside here. It is, oh, it's amazing. And then my Juvia's Place bronzer. I really like this. I especially like the cooler tone bronzer up here. This one can pull a little warm on me, but I like mixing them together. Let me just give them both a swatch for you. There's the lighter one or the cooler one, and here's the warmer one. As you can see, the cooler tone one is still not cool in tone. Really nice, lighter skin tone bronzer. Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. I've been loving this lately. Definitely a keeper. I probably could have put this in either the bronzer or highlight, but I like the bronzer or contour more than I even like the highlight. The Butter Bronzer. This one, I'm not gonna get rid of it yet. I do wanna pick up the new version of this one because I know that they changed the packaging, but I was hoping to hit pan on this before I did that. Still have not hit pan. Mine is in the light bronzer version, and I love it. I think it's so pretty. Such a beautiful formula. One of the best bronzers at the drugstore. Let's move on to the last two. This one from Ofra and the Samantha March collection, the River Bronzer. This is a really nice warm bronzer. It's borderline almost too warm on me, but I find that it still works for my skin when I want something warm. I'm gonna keep it. This right here is from Kevin Aquan. This was a gift from a subscriber. It's the Sculpt and Highlight Contour Duo. I love the Kevin Aquan, especially the contour. As someone that's not really into contour, this is another one that kind of reminds me of like the Charlotte Tilbury. It's just very, very subtle. But I actually have this contour shade and highlight shade in a larger Kevin Aquan palette. So I think I'm gonna pass this along. I'm sure someone can get more use out of it than I have been getting, but I think this is really nice. Back to the ColourPop one. You know what? I'm gonna say goodbye to Private Party. All right, so here we have it. 27 keepers, 9 rejects. I know that's a little pathetic, but I was not expecting to get rid of a ton. I feel like this will clear just enough space in my bronzer drawer to help me fit the rest of these. So let me put these back in the bin. I'll show you guys what that looks like and then we will be all done. All right, you guys, so here is the finished bin. Much better. Look how much more space I have in there. I mean, part of that is because I sort of sorted and organized, but nonetheless, looking at the pile of total things that I decluttered, including bronzers and highlights and my blushes, because I did this all on the same day, I'm pretty happy with how well I did. This is definitely gonna make a difference in my storage situation down in my makeup room. So I'm gonna take this down there and then we will say goodbye. All right, you guys, that is it for my bronzer and highlight declutter. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you weren't too disappointed with the end number. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me remind you one last time, if you are not subscribed, I would love for you to do that before you leave. And that's all I have for you guys today. I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye. Get it? I'm throwing it into the trash. Is that gonna come across on a thumbnail? Maybe if I put a little trash can right here and a little get it? Okay. How was it?
Good.
I'll say.
I gave them a tip.
What happened to your face? Did you shove it into your ice cream? Looks like it.
He got 2. I want to see it. Oh my gosh. It looks like I have a goatee.
Yeah. Play-Doh ice cream cone. Lucky.
And it's $1.
$1? That's such a good deal.